Good day, creative friends. I hope you're well. In this video, I'll show you the process of two paintings, two different styles done on two different occasions, just one day apart from each other. For me to see the paintings in one video, especially looking at the thumbnail photo, is somewhat strange. And I don't know why I keep flip-flopping between styles. I wish I knew why I'm like this. And I'm not here to discuss whether this is good or bad. That's a debate for later. And maybe. The first project I'll show you is what I call the doodly blobby style kind of painting, where I drop splashes of paint in a very unplanned manner, let the colors dry, and then I doodle away. The other one is more structured. It has cleaner lines. It's a little bit more planned. I want to say more of a graphic style. I used a similar color combo for both pieces, and I'm glad I did, since I'm not tempted to favor one piece over another just because of the colors. This exercise serves as a visual for me to evaluate what I like about both or what I don't like, and to find a common thread, or maybe even to be able to merge the two styles in an organic way. It's sort of like a study of my work, if you will, and see if I can maybe one day truly stick to one style. That's my main objective, is one day to be able to incorporate all these elements that I seem to love doing, but right now they manifest themselves into entirely different looks. I have done the blobs, as I was saying, so it's very blobby right now. There's just paint in the background. I have faded the edges to soften everything out, so there's barely any hard lines in there, and that's done on purpose. And then I just basically doodle away and try not to overcrowd everything. It's very difficult because I do love doodling. So if you give me a palette like this, I'm just gonna go nuts. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I've noticed lately, I think it's been a couple of months now, my style, like, I can see a shift. I can see a definite shift in where I seem to like simpler shapes, more of a minimalistic look, but at the same time I don't want to go too simple. So there has to be a balance somewhere in there, and I will find it. But I do want to talk about the supplies that I'll be using for both. I usually put the supplies in the description of the video, but I always get emails and comments saying I don't know where to look to see a list of supplies. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is to add the supplies in a comment, always in YouTube, where I will pin that comment, so that comment will always be at the top of all of the comments. So if you're watching the video, it'll be right, I guess, underneath the video window, I'm assuming. I know it varies from one device to another, but if you're watching it on a computer and you're not on full screen, you'll see the comments. So I hope this will help. I may put them in both places. Once it's typed, I just kind of do a copy and paste. I'm just trying to make it easier for everybody to find the supplies. So going back to this, I have used the graphite pencil extensively. That's also part of my new process, I guess. I am enjoying drawing before painting. For me, it's a more relaxed approach because the decision is happening while I'm using the pencil, and I can always erase it. And the idea was to keep the graphite in there as is, but I ended up going over all of the pencil marks with the black Signo DX. Yes, the Signo DX pen. Was it the right decision? I don't know. I regretted it a bit once I was done, but I mean, it's in a mini watercolor journal. It's not a painting I'm going to give away. This is my little journal for me to doodle in and experiment. And so, you know, everything is fair game. Is that how you say it? I think so. Anyways, um, and incidentally, speaking of the watercolor journal, because I want to address this, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to all of those that have placed an order last Saturday when we launched the updated store on our website. The mini watercolor journals, we had a very limited quantity and they sold out within, I think it was in less than 12 hours. So thank you so very much to those that have placed an order. We've sold quite a few originals as well, and stickers and calendars. There's still a few things left, so I will put the address of the website here on the screen. But I'm not sure when or if those journals will be back, because I am sourcing the paper from a local mill here who relies on donations. And right now with the pandemic, everything is just so much more difficult for them. So I will do my best. But again, you know, I had to wait a full year to get the supplies needed to build less than 100 journals. So wish me luck with that. I'll do my best. So this page is pretty much done. As you can see, I also used dots to delimit some of the flowers, mainly the purple one and the blue one, because I did not want to add a harsh outline around the flower. So I think this was a much softer approach, and I quite like it. It's pretty. Although taking photos of this page was difficult. The colors were a bit tricky. So I find it's a little bit more difficult to talk about this kind of style because I feel that it's a much simpler approach and there's nothing much that I can add other than what's going on the screen. But I can talk about the colors. As you can see, I've sort of replaced the blue that I had in the previous painting with gray. And that's mainly lunar black that I've diluted with water. And I added a bit of Naples yellow red to warm up the gray. And I started with this misshapen circle, which is, I guess this is my go-to shape when I do this kind of work. And I've also added sections to the circle. So you'll see as I move further into the painting, you'll see that there's a couple of lines to the right and one at the top. So each section will get its own special treatment. If there are two sections that are touching each other, of course, I need to wait until the previous one is dry. So that's why sometimes I skip one section in between, and then I use my heated tool to dry everything, because otherwise if I paint next to a section that is wet, of course the colors are going to mingle, and I wanted to keep them as distinct as possible. Because I'm using a lot of grays and very muted tones, I thought it would be fun to experiment with more gold than with the previous painting. So the idea behind the leaves is that I would fill them in with darker colors and then outline in gold. And I absolutely love the effect that I got from that. The thing that was fun to experiment for me in this case was to add black to the purple. Purple is not a color that I use often, and quite honestly, I'm not sure exactly how to use it, or I'm not sure how to use it in a color combination. But by adding the black to it, it became this deep color, which was quite attractive, I should say. And I wish it didn't dry lighter. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. Watercolors will always dry lighter than when you apply them. But yeah, the way the reflection is right now, it was quite impressive. But it was really fun to experiment with, and I do love the Luna Black because it's a granulating color, and it really gives you the impression of ground stone. So you can see that there are bits and pieces in the paint, and it's luscious. I did have way too much water on my brush when I did the gold, but nevertheless I was able to use it anyways. But I'm using a number 2 round brush, by the way, for this, and I love the outline against these colors. So at this point, I felt it was finished, but something about the balance of the work. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing a baseball in there. And so I enlisted the help of my daughter. I sent her a picture and I asked her, what's missing here? I can only see the baseball. And she suggested that I added these two leaves on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, I forgot to record that part, but I think it helped. But I was still stuck on the baseball, so I decided to add this other blob inside of the, let's call it the baseball now. And it turned into this mountain, and I was happy with it. As you can see, there's a little white spot at the top that could indicate maybe a snow-capped mountain. And I just decided to add a tiny bit of pattern with the lead pencil. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. It was quite interesting for me to see them together in one video. I'm going to now look at them both and kind of study my own work and try to make sense of all that. One day, maybe. Are you the kind of person that likes structured, or do you like more of a playful approach? What is it that you prefer doing? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As usual, I want to say a huge thank you to my awesome patrons for supporting my art over at Patreon. Please be well, safe and healthy and creative, and I will see you soon.